Hey guys, Julian here. Today I'm going to be showing you some tips about how to make ambient music in Ableton because I've gotten a few requests for this tutorial, and to be honest with you, I'm just a big fan of ambient music. So I want to show you some techniques I've sort of figured out and I've learned to do it with just Ableton stuff. So we're going to do that today. So this thing that I have in front of me is exactly what you heard in the intro. It's this little ambient thing. And what it is it's two layers. It's this layer and this layer. And so sort of like a high layer and like a low layer. And what I've done with both of these is I've used FM synthesis to create these kind of like sounds that are based on sine waves, but are a little bit more interesting, and have a little bit more sort of like nuance to them. I think FM synthesis can be very, very good for ambient music because you sort of have like an infinite amount of different types of waveforms and sounds you can create with it. Whereas if you're using like, say, like analog, for example, like standard just like subtractive or additive synthesis, the way that works is you just use a sine wave, a saw wave, a square wave, a triangle wave, or noise, or like, whatever kind of pulse width or sync or whatever kind of things you want to do to those waves, but you're stuck with those waves and you have to use those to create something. Whereas, like I was saying with FM synthesis, there's a little bit more creativity or a little bit more creativity possible at least, because you're basically using these waves to create new waveforms and new sounds. So it's kind of interesting that way if you think about it. So that's what I did here. For the first layer, I've got this sort of like glassy thing that I've made. And the way I made this is it's two sine waves. I'm just using the default operator FM algorithm. And the first one is at +2 coarse pitch, I guess, which is really kind of relative based on where you are on the keyboard. And then the second one is also a sine wave. I didn't touch the envelope at all, and it's just up a little bit, but it's 2 octaves higher, or 2 coarse pitches, I guess, higher than the first oscillator. So that's how I get that sound, and I'll show you before the reverb, and I'll turn off this thing too, which we're going to talk about in a second. It sounds like this before the reverb. So it's like a very basic, just clean, simple FM sound. And then this reverb is what really transports it to like another domain. That's what really gives it like the cool ambient feel. And I'm sure you probably know that reverb is how you make ambience. That's nothing new. But I did do something a little bit weird here because I used 2 of these. And the reason why I did that was because just one of them, it just didn't feel quite, like it doesn't have that feeling that I wanted. And turning the dry wet and decay time up didn't really do it for me either, so I just duplicated it. And it sounds pretty good. Now there's like a pretty long decay time. The second layer now, it sounds like this. And this is actually a very, very similar sound. I believe it might be the same to this one, but it's played an octave lower. Yeah, okay, so what this is, same kind of thing, just like a simple FM sound. And then just with the double reverbs, and that's pretty much how you get that. Now, what I did do is I processed these as a group. And what I did was I just put the Haas effect on. So if you don't know what the Haas effect is, I haven't actually explained it in a video in the past like week or two, I think. But what it is essentially you split the sound into the left and right signal as 2 independent signals, and they're running in parallel, right? Well, what you do with the Haas effect is you move one of them forward, so it happens like usually between 10 and 30 milliseconds after the other one. So like the right ear is delayed, for example, and the left ear is here, and this is the right ear. And what it does is, by like moving this forward, you create this huge stereo image. Now, in this case, I didn't use it too extensively, but I just kind of used it to get the right sound that I wanted. So what I did was I'll just redo it. I took an audio effect rack. I made 2 chains. You press this little thing with the 3 lines. Is it 3 lines? Might be 4. I don't know. I have nearsightedness. So anyway, you make 2 chains, right click, create chain, right click, create chain. I pan one completely to the left and one completely to the right. On the one that I pan completely to the left, it doesn't matter, by the way. You can do it on either ear, but I just did it on the left ear in this case. On the one that I pan completely to the left, I took a simple delay, and I put it on there, and then I turn the dry wet up all the way, keep the feedback down, and what you're doing now is you're essentially just delaying. This is just going to do one, it's just going to play through the signal one time, and it's not going to be like a long delay, but it's going to play it after, like it's going to play it based off of what you set this delay time to. So what I did after that was I turn on the link, so it's just a mono delay signal, which is what you want because you're just using the left ear. And then I unsync them and set them to, where do I have this set to? 10.3 milliseconds. And then you get this turns into this. So it becomes much wider, much thicker, much more like stereo. It's just an overall better sound, especially for big ambient kind of sounds like this. Now, as far as the music theory of this goes, there's not too much to really be said other than just sort of get out there and do it. A lot of these chords may look more complicated than they are because I've moved the thirds up an octave, which is a common technique I like to do. But those are just like the basic chords. Most of these are just two voices playing at any given time. Excuse me. And yeah, they're really just kind of like very full sounding. Even though it's only, like I said, at any given time, two voices playing at once. They're very full sounding because I have the sound doubled up an octave lower. So we're getting like 2 octaves of this. And then on top of that, I have these notes spread across the keyboard. So it's just a very full sound just by default because of how I've sort of placed it in the on the keyboard. So that's gonna be that for today, guys. I hope you guys learned something. Download this project file. It's in the description. You can just copy it there for free. Just gotta click the link. Like this video, comment on this video, let me know what you thought. Share this video, subscribe, check out my social media, and I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Peace.